everybody. Good afternoon. If you're with me live or watching this later on replay, please comment below and let me know that you watched and any other questions or comments that you may have. So I want to go ahead and introduce myself. I know I do this for those of you who've been watching regularly, but I never know who's going to watch it. So I just want to say hello. I'm Bonnie Barclay. I'm a therapist in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm the owner of Creekside Counseling and Wellness, which is my practice that I have expanded to include new employees and a wellness component. So as usual, I want you to feel free to just grab something to write with so that if something resonates with you today, that you can jot that down to reflect on a little bit more later. Before we jump into the 7 levels of intimacy, I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between intensity and intimacy. And Harriet Lerner is one of my favorite authors, and she writes about this beautifully in her book, The Dance of Intimacy, if anyone's interested on kind of doing a deeper look at that on your free time. So many confuse the two, intensity versus intimacy. Intense feelings, no matter how positive, are hardly a measure of healthy and enduring closeness. And I think that's important to remember. Intensity for a lot of people can feel reassuring at first, especially if we're anxious about relationships or maybe have an anxious attachment and want that reassurance that someone likes us. We want that intensity to provide that reassurance. But it's when we stay in relationship over time, whether by necessity, like at work, or choice, that our capacity for intimacy is really put to the test. Intensity can sometimes even be a barrier to assessing the dance going on in significant relationships in an objective way. Those intense feelings can overwhelm our objectivity and ability to truly assess things. So let's take a look at some key markers of healthy intimacy. In healthy relationships, we can be who we are and allow the other person to do the same. Neither party silences, sacrifices, or betrays the self. And what I mean by the self is who we are as a person. And this kind of builds on what we've been talking about with boundaries and allowing our core values to guide those boundaries and priorities in our life. So this is, again, not betraying the self in relationship. Each party can express strength and vulnerability in a balanced way. We're able to be connected even when there are differences, without needing to change, convince, or fix the other. And that's really the key again. So I'm going to say that one more time. Each party can express strengths and vulnerability in a balanced way. They can be connected even when there are differences without needing to change, convince, or fix the other. And I think this is hard in any relationship, whether it's friendship, marriage, partnership, raising children, that need to fix sometimes, especially when their differences can be overwhelming. We're able to clarify and take a clear position on what is acceptable and tolerable to us in relationship. We're able to talk openly about what is important to us. We demonstrate the ability to balance separateness and connectedness. And that's really building again on that boundary concept, because where do we end and begin, and where does someone else end and begin in terms of that separateness and connectedness, which sometimes can be difficult when the more intimate we get in relationships. So now I'm going to briefly go over each of the 7 levels of intimacy. And I do want to give credit at this point to Mathew Kelly, who wrote the book 7 Levels of Intimacy. And this was actually a gift many years ago from my brother for Christmas. And I didn't realize at the time when I actually listened to it on audiobook, just how much I would enjoy and be able to use this in my practice. So I do want to share that with you today. When we go through these, I want you to think about relationships around you. What level are you on? What do you notice about the level and type of relationship? And these levels are fluid and vary from relationship to relationship. This is not a check the box level kind of thing where it's like, oh, I've done this level, check, now I move to the other one. It's really more of a dance and more fluid in that way. And a lot of times based on the type of relationship and how, when you open up and become more intimate, the response and dance between you and that other person. So, this intimacy lens can change the way you look at relationships, both professionally and personally, every day. So, let's start with the first level, which is cliches. This is where we engage in more casual conversation. It's impersonal. It's the right amount of small talk to make people feel comfortable, but it's more surface level exchanges. It's good for getting acquainted with others, and it's good for just day to day transactions, making initial connections with people. The how are you, how is your day, what are you up to level of sharing. I do want to comment on this that I see it every day, and we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. And we'll pass somebody in the grocery store and we'll be, so, hi, how are you? And we're walking. Like we aren't even pausing. And so I do think to move to another level of relationship in this, you might want to pause. I have to tell myself that sometimes, especially if I'm on a mission, I'm in a store, do we really show up in those areas where we want to really connect with someone? So to go to that next level, the second level of intimacy is facts. In this level, we focus our communication on the facts of our lives, the world we live in, sharing a little bit more about ourselves. Facts can include current events, weather, sports, what you did yesterday, or asking what someone else did over the weekend. At this level, there's rarely conflict because facts are safe. Sharing personal facts about yourself can be a bridge to the next level, which is opinions. And today I added in a Facebook post and also a LinkedIn post on a little bit more about the third level of opinions and put the pyramid that outlines kind of each of the 7 levels. And I posted that in particular because this is really, to me, a critical level of those relationships that are going to stay a little more surface and those that are going to bridge into being a deeper level of a relationship. So this level, the third level, is about revealing more about yourself and offering the gift of acceptance to others. And we'll talk more about acceptance in a second. This is the first major obstacle. Opinions tend to differ and can often result in controversy. Many put one foot in and jump straight back to cliches and facts. In this level, there's pressure, and I think a lot of people struggle with feeling like they need to agree rather than accept. And I think this is an important differentiation, this agreement versus acceptance. You can disagree and accept. You can validate someone, showing that you care even if you disagree. Acceptance is a key to actually resolving conflict, increasing the willingness of each party to move towards temporary or permanent compromise. It's a task of finding common ground. It's important at this level to have a common goal and purpose. Many times arguments happen because there's no common purpose. Conflict management skills are also important. Do you know how to disagree gracefully? Do you know how to hold on to your voice when conflict occurs? Do you know how to disagree and be in a place of acceptance of the person? If two people can develop acceptance to respect one another, enjoy each other's company, remain dedicated to a common purpose, something wonderful happens. And Matthew Kelly describes this as the gates of intimacy swinging open. Opinions are based on our life experiences and education. We all have different experiences and we all have different levels of understanding. And keeping this in mind at least helps me stay out of defensiveness and puts me in a position to be more curious about others, where they're coming from, and what is driving that opinion. And that can lead to more acceptance. The reason this is called the graveyard of relationships is because in a lot of relationships with strong willed personalities, those personalities struggle at this level, needing to have the right opinion where no other opinion matters. Not only does the other person not feel validated, but they do not feel that what they think or feel even matters. So that need to be right rather than focus on the relationship. When in this level, what is healthy and what moves us to a deeper level of intimacy is prioritizing relationship over being right. The fourth level is hopes and dreams, and this is about setting aside instant gratification to build a future together. And this again is, it can be marital, it can be a future together as a partnership in a business, this can be about friendship, it can be in different relationships. What is that future purpose, future goal, future relationship? Every dream is unique. Many times our true self and our hidden self emerges in our dreams. Our dreams very often reveal our hopes, fears, fantasies, and our deepest desires. When we are around people who are critical and judgmental, we're unlikely to make ourselves vulnerable. So that's why, going back to that previous level, the third level, that acceptance is so important to a deepening level of intimacy. If you really want to be intimate with the people you love, you need to know what drives them. That willingness to delay gratification is about shared dreams and includes time we set aside for our immediate needs to support the dreams of someone we care about. So temporarily setting aside something that may be important to us for someone else. And referring back to the boundaries, this isn't about the unhealthy neglect of our own needs that can result in resentment, but rather a loving and flexible dance found in healthy, intimate relationships. So now the fifth level. Let me just check in for a second before we move on to that. I know we're going a little bit long today because that's just me. I get so excited about this stuff. The fifth level. This is about feelings. And at this level, we're exploring how we really feel about people, places, things, events, learning to express these feelings in healthy ways without being hurtful to others. Feelings often reveal our brokenness, our humanity, our need to be held, listened to, loved. Allowing those we love to express their feelings, to be truly heard, and listening. Exploring why people have the feelings they do and why they react the way they do. So knowing and sharing feelings is an integral part of intimacy. So here are my hard truths for this level. Are you willing to make yourself vulnerable? Are you willing to let your guard down? Allowing the people we love to freely express their feelings is one of the greatest gifts we can give them. We all have a need to express our feelings, even though many of us like to avoid them. Feelings are our superpower. They give us clues to what's going on. We want to learn to lean into them and see what they're telling us. The sixth level of intimacy is faults, fears, and failures. And so this is when it starts to really get real. This is where you tend to the healing of the wounds of your past, making new choices, sharing your story, your history, sharing that you have faults, that you may need help, that you're afraid, that you may have messed up. Knowing it's not about trying to fix each other, but walking bravely with each other, supporting each other along the way. This area really requires forgiveness of self, of others, moving to making choices for the future, and striving to be the best version of yourself rather than a victim of your past, a survivor, the best version of yourself out of your past. Forgiveness is one of the keys to breaking free at this level, forgiveness of self and forgiveness of others. And the final level of intimacy is legitimate needs. This is about having a collaborative relationship with someone to create a need fulfilling lifestyle. To know and be known, seeing, feeling, thinking, experiencing through your partner's perspective, with a partner creating a lifestyle focused on fulfillment of each other's legitimate needs, knowing and responding in a dynamic way to each other's needs, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual needs, and helping your partner or this relationship, this key relationship, helping that person also become the best version of themselves. When our legitimate needs go unmet, we become irritable, restless, disconnected, and frustrated. So, this level is all about collaboration. Okay, to wrap up today, I'm going to give you a challenge for the week. I challenge you to ask someone around you, someone you would like a deeper connection with. What are their hopes and dreams? What is their greatest fear? What is their top 3 needs? What are their top 3 needs? If you can get the answers to these questions, you will find a deeper relationship with those you work with and live with. Remember, the key is that they need to feel accepted, you need to feel accepted, and the end result is becoming the best version of you, helping others do the same. So I'll end with this quote by Matthew Kelly. Connecting with people in a powerful way is a skill that must be developed, nurtured, and practiced. So I wish you the best today and the rest of the week. Good luck practicing. See you soon. Bye.